There is a question beneath all our debates about AI, progress, and the future. It is not only what we are building, it is where we think we are living. Do we believe we live in a machine or in a garden? That may sound poetic, but it is actually one of the most practical questions a civilization can ask. Because if the world is fundamentally a machine, then the highest values become efficiency, control, speed, output, optimization. Everything becomes a problem to solve, a variable to manage, a unit to measure. But if the world is fundamentally a garden, then the highest values shift. We begin thinking in terms of growth, care, timing, balance, interdependence, beauty, fragility, renewal. We ask not only how to produce, but how to cultivate. Not only how to scale, but how to sustain. And that distinction changes everything. The opening vision of Garden of Wisdom insists that environment is never just background, it shapes identity. The worlds we build shape the people we become. Our surroundings, our tools, our relationships, our stories, our cultural habits, our institutions, all of these become the soil in which consciousness grows. So when we build technological systems, we are not just building apps, networks, models, or markets. We are building environments. And environments teach. They teach us what to notice. They teach us what to value. They teach us how quickly to move. They teach us how much patience we can tolerate. They teach us whether other people are neighbors, competitors, or data points. That is why this metaphor matters so much. A machine asks, how do we maximize output? A garden asks, what allows life to flourish here? A machine is built to dominate friction. A garden is built to work with living complexity. A machine prizes predictability. A garden depends on relationship. A machine can be scaled brutally. A garden can only be cultivated wisely. Now, to be clear, I am not arguing against engineering. Machines matter. Infrastructure matters. Precision matters. Technology matters. The point is not that machines are bad. The point is that machine logic becomes dangerous when it becomes the only logic. Because human beings are not assembly lines, children are not productivity units, communities are not dashboards, forests are not warehouses, attention is not merely inventory, and wisdom cannot be downloaded as a feature. Let me ask you directly, when our technologies shape education, what are they producing? Informed human beings or optimized test takers? When they shape communication, what are they rewarding? Truth or emotional escalation? When they shape work, what are they serving? Human dignity or only throughput? When they shape public life, what are they cultivating? Trust or control? These are garden questions. And garden questions are moral questions. One of the most beautiful insights in your manuscript is this image of the human being as both gardener and guardian. That combination is crucial. A gardener nurtures what is growing. A guardian protects what is vulnerable. Together they form a model of leadership that is deeply relevant to the AI age. Because if we are gardeners, then we must think long term. We must care about the health of the soil, not only the speed of the harvest. We must ask whether our systems deplete attention, erode empathy, weaken communities, or poison public discourse. And if we are guardians, then we must ask whom our technologies expose to harm, who becomes legible to the system, and who becomes disposable, who gets amplified, and who gets erased, who profits, and who pays the hidden costs. This is why technological ethics must move beyond compliance language. The central issue is not only safety, it is cultivation. What are we training a society? to become. Because here is the danger of machine logic without moral depth. It always begins by claiming neutrality. But optimization is never neutral. Every metric hides a philosophy. Every system rewards a certain vision of the good. Every design decision has an anthropology buried inside it, a quiet answer to the question of what a human being is. And if that hidden answer is too small, then even brilliant technology will shrink the world. A garden requires another mindset. It requires humility because living systems cannot be fully controlled. It requires patience because growth has seasons. It requires restraint because overreach damages the very thing one hoped to improve. It requires reciprocity because everything is connected. And it requires wonder because life is more than function. That is why the garden is such a strong civilizational image for the future. Not because it is soft, but because it is demanding. It asks more of us than efficiency ever will. It asks us to think ecologically, to think relationally, to think intergenerationally, to think about health, not just performance. And perhaps most importantly, it asks us to recover a truth modern societies often forget. The goal of civilization is not merely to run well, it is to become worth living in. So the real choice before us is not technology or nature. It is not progress or wisdom. It is not machine or myth. The real choice is this. Will we use machine power in service of garden values? Or will we allow machine values to define the whole world? That is the decision hidden inside this century. And the answer will not come from rhetoric alone. It will come from what we reward, what we regulate, what we design, what we normalize, and what we refuse. Because in the end, every civilization grows into the metaphors it trusts. If we trust only the machine, we may become efficient and spiritually exhausted. If we recover the garden, we may still build extraordinary tools, but we will build them in service of life, and that is the future worth choosing. So, the question is not whether we will build powerful systems, but whether we will build a world that feels more like a garden than a machine.